principles that he feels is the infinite way, and that's his teaching, quote unquote, by Goldsmith. Well, you could say it's the teaching of Holmes, you could say it's the teachings of Buddha or Jesus. It's really that teaching. So the two principles that he talks about is that we have to understand and know the true nature of God. And what the true nature of God is what Douglas was reading, that God is omnipotent. You know, God is all. God is all powerful. God is all doing. God is all seeing. And that is constant no matter what. And as we know that awareness that God is the all in all, the I am presence, that God is creating everything for us all the time, that all we have to do is tap into that feeling and that vibrational frequency. But it's not so hard. It's not so easy, is it? It's hard. In fact, it's hard at times. When we're going through difficult times in our lives and we're having things happen in our life, it's hard to just be, oh, I'm one with God. But you know, he said, all we do, we sit and we practice meditation. We focus on the oneness of God, and we focus on the I am that I am. And there's different statements of truth that we can say. You know, one of them, and I was thinking as I'm driving up, and only a half hour from Ventura, you know, to do this. But one of them is that God makes the crooked path straight. All right, that's a statement of truth that Goldsmith says all the time. Well, what does that mean? In current terms, God's got your back, baby. Okay? So if there's something going on, you have to understand and realize that that presence and that power will take care of the details, of the minutia, of the little details. So as Goldsmith, and this is, I'm just still talking about the nature of God. As he was first starting his practice, he was a Christian Science practitioner, and then he went off and he was uploaded or downloaded the Infinite Way teachings. And as Goldsmith would listen, and we all have heard Spirit tell us and our intuition, and I know you all have, because we're all infinite beings here. We all have heard it, have we not? And so what happens is that, you know, he was listening and he's in his meditation and his contemplation, and God said clearly to him, okay, Joel, you've got to go do this, and then I want you to go to New York. And Joel's like going, New York? I have no following there. What am I going to do in New York? This just doesn't make sense. And at the time, I don't know, he had a couple books published, and he said, okay, I am your servant, I will go. So he gets to New York, and he's sitting there in the hotel room. Okay, what now, God? And he said, I'm bored. What do I do now? And he said at that point, you know, he was guided step by step by step by step what to do. And while he was in New York, a huge following was created. He published 2 or 3 books while he was in New York because he followed his guidance in order to go forth and have that happen. And it wouldn't have happened if he hadn't listened and if he hadn't allowed that intuition to override his mind and for him to go forth. So he had faith that God knew exactly what to do in order to create that to happen in his life. So he said that really what happens and what blocks us is that it's the fear in our minds and our thoughts that stop us from having that experience. So he said the second principle, or the main principle of the Infinite Way, and it's something that Ernest Holmes teaches, is that we are caught in the nature of air. Yes, God is omnipotent, omnipresent, and what happens is that we get caught in what we call the race consciousness of the world. Do you know what that means? It's the thoughts of society. It's the thoughts of humanity that we've created because why? Because we have free will. And because we have been given free will to create and to become even more, and as Jesus said, even more than this you shall do, as Buddha said, you can be whatever you desire and grow and be. And what happens is that we get caught in that negativity that tells us, well, that can't be true. I have to do something about this. I have to create this to happen. I have to make it work. And we don't. I gotta tell you, when I sit and practice the present, and I remember the moments sitting on my couch and just being, and maybe saying some statements of truth, or maybe saying a mantra, whatever it is, I feel that presence, and boom, the phone rings.